Praise the higher family. He's the Most High, holy and eternal, King of all kings, the only true, wise, and living God, the Almighty. Well, hello. So coming on with a prophetic flow, incidentally, I also have to apologise for the quality of some of my videos. I'm currently having to record on my phone due to issues with my laptop. So I hope sometimes my videos do cut out mid-sentence. Apologies for that. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. But anyway, coming on with a prophetic flow. So we are really seeing currently the unfolding of Yahuwah administering judgment really around a number of things. Around the tabernacle systems particularly, which we're seeing unfolding all around us. Now, these systems we have explained, and for those of you who've seen Sabbath content particularly on our channel, you'll be aware that we do actually look at our present day beast system, is what the word of God actually calls her. Namely, Mystery Babylon, she's called. So we know that she's first and foremostly a tabernacle system, according to Psalm 83 verse 6. That's what that does actually tell us. So I've been looking really at the trades really of Mystery Babylon from Revelations 18, 12 to 13 to see that she does also besides promoting global trade, world trade, of viable commodities that you would normally consider to be viable to be traded. She does also operate two other more questionable trades, put it that way, in both the slaves of men, and that we've explained is actually the slaves of our people, because as we've shown, the actual laws that mandate that Yasharalites are still slaves, effectively, are still on the global statute books. And I've given statute and verse for all of that in previous recordings we've done. But I'm coming here on today to address the other trade that Revelations 18:13 does allude to, namely the soulical trade, or the trade in the souls of men, as it's called. We understand this is a wider trade, not just in those literally selling their souls, either for advantage, financial aggrandizement, some kind of incentive or reward, which is so egregious to Yahuwah because this is something he never actually required. And I mean, really, what is someone going to give in exchange for their soul? It's amazing that someone could even put the soul on a par to something even material. It makes no sense. It's like, I can't even think of a like trade to actually liken it to, as to how ridiculous it is, really. And offensive in Yahuwah's sight, because of course there's nothing more valuable or precious than the human soul. But anyway, we've seen that actually a soulical trade, not only in the souls of men, but also in the attributes as well of individuals as well who are deemed to be either talented or gifted in some way, that this kingdom then sees as viable to be extracted. So we're actually seeing this playing out in plain sight, really, and we're seeing the targeting particularly rather dangerously of individuals that Yahuwah has actually mandated are not to be touched. And so unfortunately, here we are really on the cusp of some quite serious unfolding judgment. I mean, this is akin to now an angel of death now being released, a kind of level of judgment is what has been invoked now without reprieve, because they have been told so many times to desist and to stop, and they're refusing, and they're also now resorting to now hindering the work of Yahuwah directly in the earth, and also trying to either hide blessings, intercept miracles, intercept possessions that are the legitimate property of God's people, to set themselves up in prosperity, really, at the expense of Yahuwah's people. So pay particular attention, because we're actually having a masterclass in seeing the unfolding of this all around us, to their shame, because they are literally exposed. Something we can all see. It's not at all hidden at all. And in addition to the judgment they've incurred upon themselves, they've also now put a mandate on themselves to now have to pay a punishable return, because of course Yahuwah deems nothing less than a sevenfold return as being fair and just for the disruption, the inconvenience that was caused. So this is now actually where they're standing. So it's not only a return of that, but also, as we've seen by looking at the scriptures in 2 Kings 8, I believe it is, 1 to 6, that Yahuwah is also deemed to also be returned. And things like any profits, revenues, or interest earned on anything that was taken during the time it's been in the possession of the thief as well. So this is now really where they are standing. So in jeopardy, really, on every side. But it really does really, well, merit a deeper look as to why people really resort to these sorts of systems. I mean, I know that people, I guess, can be lazy, resort to shortcuts. They think that seizing upon somebody else's possessions is a quick way to enriching themselves. But really, it's the worst thing they could possibly have done. And I would say that anyone who really resorts to this sort of lifestyle, or who steals at all, really is lacking in understanding. And I know that's the order, really, of Mystery Babylon. And many may think that's a viable thing to do, because I've not really seen her judgment. I've not really covered her judgment really in our Sabbath sessions, because, as I say,